The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Every 13 weeks, the SRF Big Grid returns to iRacing. And all the action from green flag to victory donuts will be brought to you live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing Channel and iRacing Live. High in the sky, looking down on Watkins, Glen International, where we bring you today's action. Hello race fans and welcome to another GSRC broadcast. I'm Sean Ambrose. Joining me in the booth to call the action today is just-in-time Prince. Twisting and tweaking the dials is the hardest working man in sim racing broadcasting, fresh off the plane from France. Our director Joe Peak, and at his disposal will be the camera locations provided by the renowned Dougie Beard, who also spent a little time in France over the past 24 hours. Justin, the organizer's stated idea for this event is simple. Put 60 spec racer Fords on a track with plenty of passing opportunities, and you will have race-long side-by-side racing. Well, Watkins Glen is where it all gets started today, and it looks like it's going to be another big field put together to bring us the action today. Justin, why don't you talk to us a little bit about old Watkins Glen?
Yes, Watkins Glen today is going to be a beautiful track to race on with the boot, as it's going to be 3.4 miles or 5.47 kilometers of 11 turns and a 40-minute race. You should expect these drivers going 3 or 4 wide in many areas of this track, and cars to get very loose in some areas, as there's a chance to go very fast in some of these areas. But to go into more detail, let's go into your GSRC lap guide.
All right, Kevin Brown is behind the wheel of the GSRC Spec Racer Ford, and this is a lap around the classic boot configuration of Watkins Glen. Coming down to turn 1, this is going to be one of your best passing opportunities, but there's a catch that you'll see later. Obviously, lots of paved runoff on the exit, but if you go too wide, you'll scrub off precious speed while returning to the track, so don't get too greedy. As we approach the S's, they're going to be flat out the whole way through, so focus on straightening these out as much as you can. But because you've got your foot to the floor, these are basically an extension of the backstretch that follows these corners. And there's the rub if you attempt to pass in one. The guy you just got by has your draft the whole way up the hill into the braking zone of the carousel. This is why this track has a reputation as the Talladega of road racing. Draft battles will be happening all day long. Now you've got another good chance for a pass, into the carousel. There's tons of banking around this long corner, so it's fairly high speed in this car. There's more paved runoff, but once again it disappears, so be wary of the grass at the end of it. Switch back to the right, and now you've hit the chute. This left-hander plunges downhill the whole way, so utilizing the lift throttle oversteer of this car is going to be key to getting the vehicle rotated and carrying your speed. Now it's a short burst into the toe of the boot. Ambitious drivers can sneak one up the inside if they've got to run. Yet again, more banking to help you carry that momentum, and you'll need it for this steep uphill. If you have to lift because you're drifting too wide, you're a sitting duck down this next stretch. And that exit speed will really make the difference because the heel of the boot is also a possible passing zone if somebody has a run. Just be careful about these curbs you see around the inside. They're not huge, but they jut out significantly and can really unsettle this little car. Switch back once more, and now we re-enter the main course. This corner really crests, so expect the car to lose grip. That wall is right next to the track at corner exit, so don't get on the power too soon or pay the price. Now we've hit the penultimate corner. In this car, it's a mere lift, and then put your big boy pants on, hit the groove, and keep your foot down for the rest of the way through. Get back to the left and hit your marks for the final turn. Once again, watch out how soon you get on the gas because there's a hungry tire barrier ready to gobble up any SRF that strays too far offline. If you survived all that, you finished a lap around Watkins Glen.
Man, that little Spec Racer Ford really gets around Watkins Glen International. Today, though, we have some of the best joining us, including past SRF champs, big grid winners, and champs in other series. So the term runoffs is a very appropriate term used here. Drivers have come from all over the world to be here today. The drivers representing almost every iRacing division. It won't be hard to find one of your favorite drivers on track today. Justin, though, talking a little bit about the race today and the car being used, this is the Spec Racer Ford. Great little car here on the iRacing service. Very popular here in the Spec Racer Ford community. And these big grid races is one of the big grid races are one of the reasons. Now, today we've got a 20-minute open qualifying session. So these cars you're watching on track right now are getting those qualifying laps in now. Just a little under 8 minutes left to go. And drafting a part of the qualifying equation today in this 20-minute session. And today's race, as always, 40 minutes, a 40-minute sprint, Justin, that will see these cars scream down into the 90 on a rolling start. Usually we have a no passing zone to start the race. Not today.
Yes, you mentioned with the no passing zones for today, that could create a lot of chaos in some areas. In fact, I was asking Nicholas Souza about this, who has competed in some of these races, and he called it an absolute insanity kind of race today. But a lot of drivers, of course, have been setting up open setups, as there is the opportunity to adjust your car for the kind of track here and to make sure you have everything how you want it to be. Whether it's drivers who have been spending weeks on their setups or ones looking to set things up while in the garage here for qualifying. Now there's unrestricted fuel, meaning there is no pit stops for this race, and then there's also fast repairs. But if you need to use a fast repair, I don't think you'll be still in the running for the lead. Just to say, the weather is real-world weather at this point. 87 degrees Fahrenheit today, along with 117 degrees on the track, along with 13-mile-per-hour winds, as well as a heat rising of 28 inches. So a lot of decent weather involved in this as well. Once again, it's an open start, a rolling start as well, I should say, for this one. Lots can happen, of course, in the 40 minutes.
Justin, I'm a little concerned about that track temperature today. That 117 degrees, and it's a little windy also. Could present problems in areas like the toe, the hairpin in turn 7. Even getting down to the chute, it might get a little breezy, a little slick out of here today, and that's something we're certainly going to keep an eye on. But let's talk about this field a little bit that we have here today. It's lots of big names in the race, lots of drivers who found victory lane before. Let's talk about a few of the favorites out there, maybe like a Sebastian Raymond or Daniil Mayenkinov. They're from Michigan. Raymond from Canada. Those two popular drivers in this series.
Very popular drivers indeed. As you mentioned, Raymond from Quebec, Canada. As you mentioned, with the SRF Weekend Warrior Series, which is the league ran by the Big Grid Race Series here, he finished off with the win as the champion, Raymond, with 5 victories. As well, in the Open iRacing sessions, he finished in the top 5 in 13 of his 14 races there. Meanwhile, though, with Mayenkinov, if you mentioned, he's coming off 7 straight wins in that same situation off Lime Rock. And he's also one of the top drivers in this series overall for the Weekend Warriors. So both of them definitely drivers to watch. I think you should also include guys who are currently around the top 10 in qualifying at this point, like David Streeter, who was the champion of the Weekend Warrior Series at Watkins Glen, or guys like Philip Chavin, who finished up in the in 10th here in the same season for the Weekend Warriors. So a few different drivers to watch.
Indeed, yes. And did you mention? Do not say. Did not show up. Jonathan Madden, winner of the iRacing SRF Season 2 points, had 30 wins in 60 races. That's crazy.
Yes, that is something I noticed when doing research. He was one of the top drivers for this series in iRacing, the main series, as he had, of course, 30 wins in 60-plus races, winning points. And a few different drivers from those points, of course, in this event, such as Jason Perry, who's up in the top 5. He had 7 wins in that same season, but he still finished 3rd. So it's, in my opinion, not just about winning and having quantity, it's about quality of how you perform. And a lot of the drivers in today's race and who compete as well in the Weekend Warrior Series are about consistency and the quality, not the quantity.
And there's, a couple drivers out here, when we were looking at the field today, and I think we identified a couple drivers that probably have an outside chance at winning this race. We might call them a bit of a long shot, but they've got a little bit of experience and some wins under the belt. Talk about them.
Yes, we have 2 of those. In fact, Adam Bradshaw is the first of them, who was 7th in the Season 2 point standings for the Weekend Warriors. As well, he also had 8 top 5s and 19 starts of the normal iRacing SRF series. He's still looking for his first win of 2017, the year, not just the season, the year 2017. So he might be fighting for a victory here today. While David Gaspers, he had 1 win in the Weekend Warriors series, but he is also, when he races, a consistent driver. He's currently 4th in the qualifying standings with a few minutes to go, so we could see him competing for a victory in the final few minutes.
And I want to let everybody know that Italy being represented very well today is Luca Agaretti is here, and so is Francisco Bernardo. So watch out for those boys from Italy. And, no pit stop at this track means no fuel saving. It's an open set. They can go as long as they need to. This 40 minutes here, it's not a problem. We talked about it, just setting up this race. Any kind of damage or needing to go to the pits is pretty much the end of your event, because this is wide open, local yellows only. We're not going to stop this thing down for a full course caution. So it is a truest form of what we call a sprint race, but it's also about fun versus the checkered flag. I mean, it's 40 minutes of fun, which if you haven't seen one of these big grid races before, today is going to be a great opportunity to watch one, because honestly, we talked about it before we went on the air. The trip down in turn 1 and what we call the 90 here at Watkins Glen. Let's see how many cars we have here. All 32 of them are going to hashtag send it into turn 1, and I can't wait to see that happen.
Yeah, that's a way to put it. Like I said, you might be seeing these cars going 3-4 wide. Knowing with the 90, we might see all 32 try and go 32 wide. Who knows? But it's definitely about the fun, because, well, these cars are tough to handle a little bit unless you know what you're doing. Like, if you go too fast, you'll end up getting loose, or if you go off a rumble strip, you'll bounce and go spinning around. But it's also fun to drive, because it's a simple little car. You can drive the SRF. A Spec Racer Ford, of course, very nice to drive, very fun to drive. It's just a matter of getting consistency. As well, sorry about that.
No, that's okay, Justin. Go ahead, buddy.
I was just going to say, they also have the left throttle oversteer too, which makes these fast turns much harder. And while that is going to be a bit harder, it could also be more fun to have a bit of more of a challenge than simply driving on an oval, or simply just getting into rhythm like you do in some cars or tracks. No offense to the air cars or tracks.
Yeah, I think just a moment ago on screen we saw Gabriel Perez having a little bit of trouble there with that oversteer or that understeer you were talking about there. It snapped on him. You know what? I'm seeing that the checkered flag is out on our qualifying effort here today. And I'm curious, does that mean we can go to the grid here? Because I know we got to get it in quick. You know what? We are good. Let's go to the grid, because we do have to get that in quick, because, again, it is a rolling start, and we got to get going here. So let's call out the grid. Qualifying is over. Charlie Summers on the pole today in row 1, and Danil Maenkonoff there in second, Justin.
In third place, we have Luca Leonardo Agretti. Alongside him, David Gaspers. In row 3, Jason Perry, 2, along with Sebastian Raymond. While in row 4, Francesco Bernardo, along with Michael Shaw. And in row 5, David Streeter and Tim Seidel.
Okay, now let's go back to row 6, and that's going to be Philippe Chauvin. Paul Darling getting us started back there. Row 7, Adam Branshaw. Antonio Rees in 14th. Row 8, Kurt Nunez. Rob Adams. Row 9, Jared McAreevy. Manning Grinnan, 18th. Row 10, Richard Valley and Fraser Williamson going to run out the top 20.
Up in 21st in this 11th row is Don Brooks. Alongside him will be Tom Vanderpool. In row 12, it'll be Telmo Amodo, as well as Tyler Trizzle. In row 13, Gabriel Perez, along with Ian Wilson, too. Alongside in row 14 will be C. Love and Jeff Nadeau. And in row 15, Pablo Martins and Abes Ladek.
All right, Justin, and a big field indeed. Not quite the 60-car field we're used to seeing from time to time, but listen, it's a very, very busy weekend, okay? We just wrapped up the 24 hours of Le Mans here at, or not here on the Global Sim Racing channel, but here on iRacing, and it was quite an event. And I'm sure a few drivers are probably a little weary, didn't know if they could make it for this one today. I certainly was part of an effort in that race myself, but I feel good. I'm ready to go here. The GSRC Turn 2 Motorsports Ford GT was successful in finishing the race in a 6-plate finish, and our director Joe Peak, our cameraman Dougie Beard were all part of that effort, and it was a fun time.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to compete myself, but I do know the 24 Hours of Le Mans is one of the most challenging races you can compete in. Yes, you work with a team and can take shifts here and there, but if you don't have that ability, you'll end up being up for 24, 28 hours straight. Yeah, it was a decent competition overall again this year. Some drivers I do know, like I said, Nicolas Souza is unable to make the start for today due to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, for example. So a few drivers may be sleeping in right now, trying to catch a couple hours of extra seconds of sleep after the 24 hours.
Yeah, well, there'll be no sleeping or napping during this one, and it's going to be a full tilt with the 31 drivers today in this field. And they are gritting up now. Everybody getting ready here. Just over a minute before we drop the flag. Or I'm sorry, that's again rolling start. I get so used to standing starts here on the road courses. I forget here at the big grid we go for a rolling start. So we'll take a quick scenic trip around the rolling hills here of Watkins Glen. Beautiful, sprawling countryside of upstate New York. And the weather, I can confirm, I know one of the goals is to have as realistic weather as possible. It is indeed a beautiful day here in New York, where I'm located. A little far from upstate, but yeah, it's a great day in the state of New York, indeed.
It definitely looks like it in the sim, and I'm glad it is in person as well. So, definitely going to expect a lot of good racing today in this hot temperatures. Yes, the track temperature is 117 degrees as well, which at the same time I think is going to factor into this, making this even more slicker for these cars to drive on.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to Steve Ray. He is the man and involved with putting all this together behind the scenes. Unfortunately, not able to race today. Still recovering from some medical issues, but we wish him the best. Sorry not to have him in the field today. He's fun to watch, but he promises that he will be back soon. And again, big thanks to him for being the man behind the scenes that puts this all together and organizes these events. We are rolling. Everybody going to head down into the 90 here in a nice orderly fashion as we pace around Watkins Glen.
It's not going to be an orderly fashion for long, unfortunately, because of course we have the one pace lap. As soon as that pace car's gone, it's going to be absolutely hectic, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, we've got some drivers in this field making their appearance for the first time here in the big grid. Abbas Loddick being one of those guys that we've not seen here before. The New Jersey driver, hey, listen, good or bad, somewhat of a legend on iRacing. So we look forward to seeing him out here. He participates in the chat, a lot of our broadcasts, and it's nice to see him. Well, I'm going to be frank. It's nice to see him put his money where his mouth is. Let's see what he can do here in this field, coming all the way from the back.
I guess that's a way to put it. There's been so many stories I've heard about him, and times I've seen him and raced against him. I'd say good luck. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on everyone today. But like I said, it's when the green flag does drop, everybody hang on to your seat because it's going to be very crazy. I have reserved a small spot on the beach there in the 90, very, very far back in the corner. Don't want anybody to get injured. But it's going to be really fun when they set it down in there. Heading down into the chute now. If you weren't here for our lap guide, it's so hard to keep the car stuck and find grip coming through the chute all the way down into the toe. And then you've got to get the car slowed down from a great rate of speed and get it to turn right up the hill. Getting back to the throttle, so very important and pretty touchy. Car will certainly break around and spin there getting up the hill if you get back to the throttle too hard.
Or if you enter a turn too hard on top of that, because I was testing this car around to see how the track would feel, and It felt like trying to ride on a roller coaster with how it was handling. It was a fun car to drive, but also one, if you went too fast in any single area, you'll just go spinning around like a tabletop.
All right, here we come. Cars are making their way out of turn 9 now, over to turn 10, and then we get set up for that run down in 11 where the pace car will pull in, the green flag will drop, and we will get started. Everybody tightening up the field now here, Justin. We get ready to go. Remember, 40 minutes when that green flag stops. The action won't stop, and neither will we. Charlie Summers, Danil Menikov going to get us started. Pace car pulling off. And the green flag is out, and they are away in the SRF Big Grid today. 31 cars screaming down the front straightaway to the 90. Here we go. Danil with the advantage. Looking to the inside. And going to get away clean as we get started there. Charlie Summers out of the 90. He is the first one away.
And that was much... Sorry about that. That was much better than I thought, but Charlie breaking away big time, as you were just about to say there, by about 3 car lengths already as we go through the S's.
Yeah, and I've already seen David Gaspers trying to hang on the third right now in a battle there with Luca Agretti. Jaspers with a little bit of connection issue as they got started, and just behind him there's Spider-Man Jason Perry making his way up through the grid. Battle on the outside. Francisco Bernardo is there. Jason Perry still battling on the inside. Danil gets it almost off of the grass. He's able to hang on. Our leader still Charlie Summers up front.
And a lot of action going on right behind him. 2 wide for most of the field already right now. Almost 3 wide at a couple times already.
Yeah.
As we look at second place right now. Right behind him, though, Gaspers continues to drop back.
And we had big trouble in the carousel. We'll get that here if we can catch it. Several cars involved with that. But our leader, Charlie Summers, still getting him around this track. Down into the heel. Nice trip through there. Got to keep it down on the inside, tucked in, let it run out. Get it back across the track to set up for this uphill left-hander where it gets really slow here. Grip hard to find. They've gone line of stern through the top 10, making their way to turn 10. And you're pretty much flat out here in the Spec Racer Ford.
Single file up there, then, which is good action. But if we can go right to the back right now, we already have a couple cars that are in trouble. One of them is Vanderpool, all the way back in the 30s right now, smoking along with Martins now. Pablo Martins without a hood. So both of them already in trouble to start off.
Yeah, that's not a good place to be to start this 40-minute sprint race. And boy, down through the 90, everybody at speed, cars running way out in that area there. And boy, it was Danil Menikov and Luca Agretti exploring the boundaries of the track there. Great battle though. David Gaspers hanging on to that 5th place spot. Now, could we maybe catch the start of this race here? We've got cars scrambling every actually battle here for the lead. They're heading 3 wide down to the carousel. Everybody's spreading out now, going 2 wide through the carousel. Several different lines you can take through here, Justin.
Yes, several different lines, as you mentioned. We can go on the bottom here, go on the top in some of these turns. There was a lot of space to drive with these cars, and it could lead to a lot of battles. As you're seeing already here, Charlie Summers already shifting back to 3rd with that pass, in fact. So a lot of action right now. Jason Perry falling behind with his Spider-Man car.
Yeah, Danil taking the lead there in the 476 Spec Racer Ford. He's going to be hard to shake from that top spot. But it's Luca Agretti looking to do just that. They got out of the toe. They're onto the heel here in the boot. But Danil with a nice line through there kind of slams the door there on Luca Agretti. Jason Perry up to 3rd. Charlie Summers continues to fall here. Under attack from David Gaspers.
making a big attack, as you say there, as Gasper's trying to get a little bit of draft right behind him. Looking a little couple right behind him, as you see with Charlie Summers trying to separate a little bit. But right now, Gasper's still sticking along with them. And now Francesco Bernardo, along with David Streeter, starting to approach. And Gasper's might be going to lose a spot here to Bernardo.
Bernardo looking up the inside, down into the turn here. He's going to get it. Oh, he slides up in front of him. Going to try and cross him over. Gasper's going to try and get it back. Got to let off just a bit. Here comes David Streeter.
And Streeter tried to bring Sebastian Raymond with him, but Gasper shuts the door there. So Bernardo and Streeter especially, is on a charge.
Can't tell if Streeter's driving a golf ball or a block of cheese there. But
we got to go back to the front because it's 3 wide for a second here.
Yeah, it is. Look at this mess. 4 wide Jason Perry down to the inside. They're throwing it here into the turn. Getting through the carousel. Side by side, 4 cars here all trying to make it work together in harmony. Into the chute. Luca Gretti up to the lead. Charlie Summers getting it back a little bit, making that draft working for him. These 4 are breaking away from the field, Justin.
Breaking away for sure, yes, but Streeter's bringing the rest of the field right on back with the charge he's been making. Streeter already moving through the field a lot in this already. He started off 9th, he's already up to 5th. And it's looking like he's faster at some parts of the track than the leaders right now. So we're going to have to see if he can close that gap, especially with him taking a bit of a later braking time right now to close it.
It does seem like Streeter is the man to get this done. Looking here up to Danil and starting to close it just a little bit at a time. These cars are draft dependent here at Watkins Glen. Couple of great opportunities here. Actually, several great opportunities here to ride in that draft and maybe get a little position. It's what's kept the top 8 together right now on track. But outside the top 8, things start to break up just a little bit. You got to go all the way back to Tim Seidel there in 10th, where you find the next group.
And Tim Seidel is already losing that spot, it looks like, to Antonio Rice as we go into the 90. 2 wide, in fact, with these cars. As almost an incident right there, as it looked like it was Gennard
McAreevy there. Yeah, McAreevy there almost gets into the back of Philippe Chauvin. I don't see any damage on the back of Chauvin's Spec Racer, but it was close. Chauvin looking to make a move here on Paul Darling. Chauvin steps out but doesn't have the momentum. He's got to shut the door on McAreevy. Ooh, that was close. McAreevy looking to the outside here.
And look at this at the front. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man Jason Perry challenging Summers for the lead.
Spider-Man. And there he goes. He's got the lead, but he doesn't have the position. Charlie with good position down to the inside. Oh, and boy, Charlie thought about shutting the door there on Spider-Man, but it's not going to happen. Now Jason Perry with the advantage back, heading here to the right through the toe. Perry with good grip there, heading up the hill. It's a little bit of a slide job on Charlie Summers. Give it to Jason Perry. Charlie trying to take it back. These spots being swapped like a kiss, sir. I mean, just back and forth, back and forth. Charlie Summers back to the lead. Here comes Jason Perry to fight back. Up the hill. Perry going to run it out wide.
This is an absolutely exciting battle to watch here with how these two are fighting already. We're just about 14 minutes in, I believe it is, into this run, and they're already fighting like it's the final minute. But it's going to be like this probably for the whole 40 minutes.
Yeah, this train isn't going anywhere. It's look at the snake there on the screen, folks. You know what I mean by the snake? You look back there and they just snake their way through. Everybody right now, nose to tail. The top 5 have broken away. David Streeter at the end of that tail. Streeter already up 4 positions and looking for more. Charlie Summers doing a pretty good job from up top. It runs it out really wide. Jason Perry able to get a little bit better run there out of the 90.
And a good run out of the 90, in fact, as it looks like they are trying to make it a two-car pack just about. But, of course, these things have a lot of draft pull, so you need to get a lot of space to get that amount. As there's a battle for the lead now, Jason Perry looks like he got that pull for the lead.
Perry moving on the outside. Ooh, maybe get a little help from Donnell here. Donnell taking advantage of the draft. Puts it up the middle. Ooh, boy, and he did take advantage using Jason Perry there in the draft. It allows Donnell to put himself up to second, but it's still a close battle. Charlie Summers fighting on the outside. Donnell keeping it tight down on the inside. Runs it out here just a bit. Got to be careful when you get all the way out to the right of that curb. The transition back can get loose and wild.
He was in the grass a bit, actually, there. But right now, you just have to be patient. Wait for the draft to pull you right on back in for the move. And it'll end up paying you off if you continue to be patient and smart with your moves. You don't want to try and be too racy, I guess is the term to say, with as much time as there is.
And 10 minutes have already passed in this race. A little less than 30 minutes to go. Gonna think that's about a little over 14 laps, I think. We'll see here as the lap averages continue here. But looking on board with Charlie Summers there being chased by Donnell Menenkoff, I'm sorry. And your leader, though, Jason Perry, Spider-Man, hanging on to it right now, clinging to this lead here as they get through turn 11, make their way back across the start-finish line here. And again, they remain nose to tail. No one's stepping out yet, but what we are seeing is cars starting to catch that top five again. Again, it's the draft at play here at this track, Justin.
And the draft at play, especially that draft pull, as long as you're within about a second and a half of the back bumper of the SRF in front of you, you'll be able to pull yourself back in. It also helps when the car that's pulling the back in is Sebastian Raymond, who has now brought the top 8 back to the grouping behind them as there's an hour battle up front.
Yeah, look at this coming out of the S's up front. Donnell looking to take this lead from Charlie Summers. He's done it so far, and now they race down into the carousel looking to make it 3 wide. Here comes Luca Agretti. He settles back, steps in line.
And very competitive into this, and it looks like he might be able to hold on to it.
Oh boy, and Jason Perry showing the power there, coming off the turn.
It is our friend Abbas Lebeck, who has, I believe, already had a few incidences in this race.
Yeah, Abbas looked like he might have had trouble coming out of the chute, in fact, and boy, he wraps it hard on that inside Terry. He hits that wall out to the right, comes back across the left, hits that tire barrier. That's generally an ender. Probably best to just take the tow and get out of that instead. Abbas taking a lot of time to let all the traffic pass by as he got restarted.
Well, he did already use a fast repair too, and had just came off pit road about 2 minutes ago. So off he goes again to pit road.
Yeah, and like we talked about in the pre-race, any real chance of competing for a win, those are dashed once you've banged it up and had to go to pit road. But you're certainly free to get back out on track and race another day. Good battle still going on back here for the top 10. Gerard McAreevy hanging on to it, being chased though by Antonio Rees. Those drivers up several spots as they continue to make their way through the field. Rees looking to make a move to the inside as they head to the start-finish line. Rees going to drop back in line actually as they head down to the 90. Play it safe.
A lot of action in that middle pack right now. They're all working together at the same time to catch right on back to one guy who might be key to catching up. Michael Shaw, who is on his own, no draft at all, but is still hanging on to it right on behind the leaders. About 2 seconds back, if he can get some speed and work on his braking lines, as in maybe brake a bit later as a way to gain more time, then he has a shot, as it looks like we're going 3 wide almost into the turn again.
More fun in the carousel, and who's running out wide there? Charlie Summers runs it out way wide, loses all those positions, about 4 of them. Finds himself side by side with Streeter and Gaspers.
And that's going to be very costly for right now. Yes, there's still 25 minutes to go, but that could be a little costly at this point, especially with Sebastian Raymond now slipping on by, coming all the way back from 6th, now up to 4th.
Look at Charlie swing it back to the inside, does the crossover, and now Charlie going to have the advantage on Sebastian Raymond as they head here into the heel. Danil Manikoff has got that lead away from Jason Perry, but not for long. Perry looking to fight back. They're down the hill and then back up the hill to the left.
And it looks like Francesco Bernardo went off the course right on behind them, so he smacked into the wall, and it looks like he will fall back big time from that. That is going to be very costly. The car is completely damaged in the front. Let's take a look at the GSRC replay.
It's a mess, and that was a hard shunt. Seeing they're battling in that Burgundy machine, and he just gets too much curb, gets him off, locks him up, and right into the barrier, knocks the front end very hard, bends it in really good. Another angle here on board with Francesco Bernardo, the Italian driver, and we'll get a better idea of where it all.
And it looks like there's a bear cub on the hood, but apparently it's a dog, not a bear. But yeah, that is what happens when you hit the curb or turn too sharply or go too fast. Exactly that.
We should maybe refer to him as St. Bernardo now, maybe, possibly. Not sure. Not sure. The battle up front still rages on. Luca Agretti gets himself into the lead here, trying to steal it away from everybody as they go 3 wide. Woohoo! Watch out, the carousel again. A lot of action here so far. Luca Agretti doing a really good job, but Manenkoff battling with Charlie Summers, Jason Perry, Sebastian Raymond still very much in this mix. David Streeter still hanging out back there with David Gaspers. This is a nice group, all 7 of them battle hard. Your buddy Michael Shaw still back there taking it easy, man, trying to catch up to this group, but he finds himself a little over 4 seconds back and tough to catch right now. These guys have to draft, and they are pulling away from the rest of this field.
The next car back of Shaw is about 3 or 4 seconds back. That's going to be hard to pull in, as we watch right now with Sebastian Raymond's view, actually pulling back to Shaw, pardon me. You can see the next car on back is 3.3 seconds back, and that is going to be Antonio Rees. So that is a long way back to the next time you have a chance to get the draft. He might have to just be patient, wait for the cars that are right behind him to come back to him, and then work on catching those leaders once again.
You know, it's kind of like a situation, Talladega or Daytona. The Spec Racer Ford at this track, especially Watkins Glen, I've said it a couple times, it's somewhat draft dependent, and like a Talladega or Daytona, once you've lost that draft, you don't have a dance partner. You're all by yourself, man. The battle rages on, though, up front. They are still battling here into the 90. Everybody running out wide on that. Oh, man, Luca Agretti almost that transition back to the track. Not a good place to get back. He does it, but Danil Mankoff had moved out to first place. They're going to catch him here as they head up the hill out of the S's, though. They're going to gang up on him here. Don't want to be the leader when the train is coming.
And the train is coming fierce. It looks like they're going to make it 4 wide. Oh my goodness. Somebody might want to back out. Perry backs out for making it 4 wide, but they'll still enter 3 wide just about. Summers goes wide again into the turn, and he'll fall way back.
Summers having trouble with the carousel, but Sebastian Raymond still a big player. David Streeter now back up to 4th. He's all over Jason Perry. I'm going to go... Yeah, let's go on board to the replay with Summers here. See exactly what happens as he makes his way to the carousel, up the back, the straightaway here, out of the S's. Summers going to move out to the edge of the track surface. And might have just gotten in a little bit too hot, and that car starts to push on him. He's able to reel it back in. There's plenty of room to run off there, but once it starts going bad, if you don't react, it will end your race. And Charlie's doing a good job of getting back in line there and keeping it real nice and tidy and still intact. The top 7 continue their assault on Watkins Glen, but it is Luca Agretti, your leader, being chased by Danil Malenkoff and Jason Perry. That's your top 3. 20 minutes left in this race. We are halfway. Let's do a rundown here of the top 10 as they come across the line. Justin, I'll take the top 5. Luca Leonetto Agretti from Italia. Your leader, Danil Malenkoff, in second. Oh, and Agretti moving all the way out. Oh, and has trouble getting back. The car is loose. He's sliding all over the place. Here comes Danil. Oh, and avoids it here, Jason Perry. Yeah, that attempt at getting through the top 10, not so good. Here comes David Streeter moving up in there. They're scrambling everywhere. Agretti makes that one mistake and everybody taking advantage of it. They ganged up on him. Look at all the drafting going on here. 3 wide. Up the straightaway.
Right now, this is a big-time battle here. This is going to be very crazy heading to the carousel, it looks like. And it looks like they take it calmly a bit here. 2 wide apiece in the top 4. And Perry's back out front.
Yeah, there's nothing calm about this. I think this race could go to any one of these 7 drivers right now. Too close to call, but Jason Perry is the man to get out of the chute. Down the toe again.
I think it might be a bit too close as well to go through the field, unfortunately. But right now, these top 7 have the cars to beat. Right now, cars to beat unless there's an air grouping who can work their ways back to them. And Streeter, meanwhile, moves up as a 3rd. But you look at Michael Shaw. He is 5 seconds back already. And the next car back behind him is an R2.5, Antonio Ruiz. Tim Seidel is another 3.7 back. So, and Tim Seidel's the one with the grouping of cars right now behind him. 4 cars. So that's going to be possibly at least another 5 minutes until they start trying to make the charge for the end of the race.
I'm going to be honest with you, the end of the race is not far. They're running out of time. They need to get busy because this freight train up front of 7 cars is really, really fast. Now, they are on it in sync, maybe battling a little bit less, maybe more concerned with pulling themselves away from the rest of the field and leaving it to the last 2. And, David Gasper still having some connection issues I talked about at the start of the race. That car continues to blink in and out just a bit. Certainly, if you're driving behind a car like that, it can be difficult to navigate. You never quite know where that car is going to show back up on track. Bit of a problem for David Streeter. He's got to watch him out of the mirror. And again, and almost contact there as Gasper almost gets into Streeter. Gaspers lets off, and that opens it up for Agretti. Here he comes. Going to bring Charlie Summers with him. And that's what we've seen so far. Just the slightest bit of break in momentum makes you a victim. You fall prey.
And a lot of drivers have been falling prey. Some of them to Spider-Man, some of them to mistakes, some of them to, and most of them, I should say, to that draft. Because these cars, they are taking the time to work on that draft to get the lead right back. And you mentioned it before, it's like Talladega almost, like with these cars right now, Watkins Glen today, with how they're running. Makinov is trying to break away a little bit, yes, but you know he's going to get pulled right back in a couple seconds. Especially with David Streeter moving through the field from 9th down to 2nd. Very likely he's going to take the lead in the next couple laps if he plays his cards right.
Yeah, Streeter's been very, very solid. He's continued to fight really hard and gets his way finally up towards the front of this field. Jason Perry, though, been consistent in this top 3 since the green flag dropped. Going to have to watch. Again, I said it a moment ago, I think any one of these drivers in the top 7 have real potential of winning this race right now. Sebastian Raymond finds himself behind the 8 ball at the back of this train. But make no mistake, Sebastian Raymond, a very decorated driver, and the Canadian not out of this thing at all with just a little over 15 minutes to go. Anyone behind this top 7, boy, they better find a way to hook up and try and get to them. I'm afraid that may be over, because the gap back to Shaw now almost 8 seconds, and 8 seconds here at Watkins Glen can be an eternity as everyone gets out of the 90 and does it pretty clean. A little bit of running out to the left there, but everybody gets back in line as they make their way up through the S's.
I think that might hurt Raymond, actually, because that was David Gaspers getting a little bit too sharp, too wide out there, holding up Raymond. So they are going to fall back a little bit. They could lose the draft if they don't play safely here. They're about 1.1 back.
Got to be careful. Go 3 wide into the carousel. Let's do it again into the carousel. David Streeter stuck on the outside. Oh, almost contact there between him and Charlie Summers. Streeter starts to slide there just a bit. He's able to reel it in. Look at these 5 cars are hooked up. You talked about Gaspers and Raymond follow behind. They got to get a good run down into the toe if they wish to keep up.
And it looks like they are keeping up. They are just about right back up. They're just 6/10 back, about 6 or 7/10. So they're going to be right back up there in the next lap or two, and just about. So I think right now, if you're Raymond, though, I think he's right now, based on what I'm seeing, he's waiting for things to unfold in front of him and waiting for the final minutes to come away with a victory, rather than trade and swap positions for the lead like they have been all race, which has been pretty crazy.
Streeter's around. Streeter is around. Oh, and you see the damage there on the rear end, and it can only make one think that maybe there was a little bit of contact involved with that. Let's go on the replay. And did he get a little help here? Charlie Summers right behind him. Streeter in that yellow car. And that was Agretti there to the inside. Oh, and it was actually Agretti with a little bit of contact there on Streeter's Spec Racer Ford, and that gets him around. Gonna have to deal with that damage on the rear, but I'm afraid that's gonna drop him a little too far to be a factor. That group up front has now split up indeed. It's the top 3. Danil Manenkov, Jason Perry, and Luca Agretti.
Agretti's definitely going to have some damage from that, because you can see it on the left front from that hit. That could have hurt him big time, as Spider-Man Jason Perry goes for the pass out front.
Yeah, and it looks like Agretti is actually hanging on to the draft. He has not lost it. Getting a nice run. Look at that, moving to the inside here into the carousel. Gets inside of Danil, making a move on, looking at Perry. Almost makes contact with Perry. Ooh, look.
And he did, actually. He rammed into the back of him, giving a bit of a bump draft with a turn. So Agretti getting a little aggressive here.
Boy, I didn't know the ARCA brakes had made it all the way over to Italy, but man, apparently Lucas got him on the Spec Racer today. Gotta watch out. Danil gonna have to play some good defense here to keep him out of the picture. Jason Perry in this lead, though.
And it looks like Raymond, I was saying before that happened, I think he was way behind in case that did happen, just so it didn't end up taking him out. He avoided that wreck, and now he's up in 4th, just hanging on to the back of that draft. So it could work out for him, the patience for the final minutes.
Sebastian's got to be consistent here. He is not far here from the tail of this. In fact, a good run here through turn 9 and 10 would go a long way to catch him up. He's right there at the end of it. I mean, he's got a chance to grab on. Going to get a good opportunity as they come back up this front straightaway here after turn 11. On board with Raymond now. Gets a little bit of the grass there. Not smooth enough. Got to be a little smoother than that. Way out to the left, and it gets back, makes that transition nice. but he's still got a little bit of work to pull off. They are now about a second and a half ahead of him.
And that's right around the barrier of where you could lose the draft. But luckily, he does have Charlie Summers and David Gaspard still behind him. So that might work. It still has a slight chance of coming back to this, even with the time in about 10 minutes. Yes, there's not a lot of time, but it could be just enough time.
Well, time. That's what this race is all about. It's only a 40-minute sprint race, and there's only about 10 and a half minutes of it left. Look at the battle up for the lead, 3 wide. And it's Luca Agretti once again making his way to the front. Damaged Spec Racer Ford and all. Slings it into the carousel. Still your leader, Danil, gonna fight back. Got him in the draft here. Gotta be careful heading down to the chute. Very, very tricky left-hander downhill. Always hard to find grip here. And so far, Luca with the grip. Danil not able to find it. Here comes Jason Perry back into this fight.
I don't think he's going to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man with the bump draft a few laps ago on Agretti. And it looks like the damage has appeared to have gone away by the looks of it. So that might be the fast repair in effect, I think.
Yeah, I think it might have been called one of those iRacing bugs where sometimes the damage model over-exaggerates what might actually be there, and then it refreshes, and, well, everything gets back to normal. So Luca Agretti right now fighting with a clean race car. Jason Perry still tucked in behind, but right now Danil Maenkoff is your leader. The Michigan driver in command here with now 9 minutes left to go. They make their way back down the front straightaway. This will probably be about 5 laps to go, folks. Everything on the line here. Charlie Summers still back there with an outside chance. Looks like Jason Perry's fallen off a little bit. Is it going to be enough for Charlie Summers to catch back up? Summers with a good run down to the 90, being followed very, very closely by Sebastian Raymond, who's not giving up here, Justin.
And Sebastian Raymond definitely working his way back. David Gaspard's a little bit wide there, but as you mentioned, Raymond working with Summers here to catch right on back, and he is just about to catch on back. They're nearby Jason Perry right behind him as another battle. Agretti again making the pass.
Gap pass for how long?
Maybe for 15 seconds.
Yeah, maybe for about 15 seconds. I don't, and that, you can't always keep track of the position changes. It's been far too many of them. My failed attempt at going through the field, proof of that. We've had, I don't know, Justin, if you were to guess, would you say we've had a couple of dozen position changes already?
I think that's a fair estimate because right now Agretti has led 3 laps, Menikoff has led 6, Perry 3, Summers 2. So while there has been a lot of lead changes for sure, just 4 cars have been in front overall so far. But there's still a bit more time, 7 minutes, 30 seconds. There's still a lot more time. That's about 2.5, 3.5 laps.
Yeah, and Raymond and Summers have caught this field. So it is not a 3-car battle anymore. It is very, very much a 5-car battle. It's amazing. We were 7 at one point. We went down to 3. Now we're back to 5. And again, it's all because of the draft, Justin. The draft, such a big, big factor. And these cars at this track, the combination is unmistakable. It's a really, really fun trip around here in the Spec Racer Ford when you've got a little bit of help.
It definitely helps to have some fun and to have some help, I should say, as well. Jason Perry got a little bit loose in front of Summers just a second there, but that's going to open the door for Summers. But it is fun when you have somebody to work with and you know what you're doing and just know how to drive the cars, which it helps with these cars. Even if you don't know the cars, as long as you have a little bit of practice, you can be pretty good with these kind of cars. They're fun, they're nice handling cars, and I believe you get where I'm getting with this, but it's fun racing that we're seeing here. That's why I think people love taking part in the big grid as much as they do.
Still battling for the lead up front. On screen, Agretti giving it to Danil. Danil with the advantage as they head down to the carousel. We've seen all the action today. Summers throwing it in there. On board with Sebastian Raymond. Charlie Summers up in front of him there in the Red Devil Spec Racer Ford. He is up to third. Agretti hanging on to second. Mayankov, though, is at the front, in charge. Add a couple more lead laps to his ledger.
And it looks like this is definitely not over, as we've seen, because as long as I think Manikov might be a little bit too early with the front, there's still 5 minutes to go. There's still a lot of time for things to happen.
You know, boy, you don't want to be David Gaspers right now. He's out there hanging out with Eric Carmen all by himself. Just a tough way to stroll around this track. It just feels helpless. Can't catch this group in front of him. The group behind him, Michael Shaw, David Streeter, both with a little bit of damage on those cars, finding it hard to match that pace that Gaspers has. And, well, that leaves him stuck in the middle. Nowhere to go. Right now having to settle for 6th place because the battle for the top 5, it continues on. Across the start-finish line, Justin. Not too many more trips through the 90 left now. Under 5 minutes, 4.5 minutes to go. Into the closing laps.
I think right now drivers are seeing that clock and thinking, okay, should I go for the move now, or should I go for the move on the final lap, or the next lap, I should say, or when the clock runs out for the final lap, as this is getting more hectic up here. Agretti making the move 3 wide. Summers, it looks like everyone's chosen now instead of waiting.
Summers into the middle. Here comes Jason Berry. Just glued to Summers there. Backs off a little bit as they prepare for the carousel. 3 wide into the carousel. Perry thinks better of it and lets off.
Raymond got a bit spooked there too behind Perry when Perry let off.
Look at this. Charlie Summers right where he started, back to the front. He's been working all race. Oh, here comes Danil. He wants a piece of the pie here. Summers doesn't want to give him any of it. Get away from my plate. Danil, don't ever put your fork in my plate again. Charlie going to keep him behind. And I think this is going to be all about the last lap. I don't think anybody... they're going to keep fighting like they've been fighting the whole race. But now it's on. It's going to be on the first lap. Danil been sliding around a little bit. Tires maybe starting to fall off just a bit on that Spec Racer Ford. He's been fighting hard. Charlie Summers still with a little bit of the advantage. Danil with a great run, though. Out of turn 9, into 10. He's going to slip up to the lead. Can Summers fight back here into 11?
I don't think he's going to make the move in 11, maybe in the 90 when he gets the draft, because we're down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds and counting as they come to the line. Summers making the move on the inside.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get the white flag. Indeed, I'm almost positive we're going to get the white flag next time by here. Summers moves himself up to the lead. He runs it out really, really wide. Summers has struggled with the 90 all day and making that transition back to the track, but right there carries enough momentum to get up through the S's clean. They are fighting behind him. Look at Jason Perry go, was up on the curbs there in a dogfight with Agretti. Been an exciting day for everyone here in the top 5. Watch out for Sebastian Raymond, Justin. My money might be on him.
He has been a great driver, and he did win the points championship overall in the Weekend Warriors for a reason, as Agretti's back out in front. And it looks like it's still 2 wide with Manikov. Summers still on the outside, might make it 3 wide, but here comes Perry.
Boy, these gentlemen having a very, very respectful battle here. Great racing. Lots at stake. You know, it's not a points championship. It's just good fun. And they are having a blast right now. Look at the run. Charlie Summers gets there in the tow. Charlie right up on Danil Manenkov. And it's Danil still with this lead. Charlie Summers right there. Not stepping out yet. It's all about the setup here. Justin, it's all about the setup. And the top 5 seem to have command of it. I'm not done with Sebastian Raymond. He could be the dark horse here in this top 5. Charlie Summers running all the way up on Danil now.
I think they're all being patient here because they know that it's going to be the white flag lap here pretty soon. About 15 seconds to go on the clock through the turn, so there is not much time left.
All right, and the white flag is out on the SRF Big Grid race today. And now we've got a battle. Charlie Summers looking to the outside here, down to the 90. Danil fighting back on the inside. It gets good run there. That's one of the better runs Charlie's actually had out of the first turn. Charlie right up on him. Luca leading this battle behind him. Jason Perry still there. Oh, look at the crossover there with Charlie Summers. Almost makes contact with Manenkov.
And it looks like everybody's going right now because there is no time left with the white flag. It could go 3 wide into the turn. Perry coming on with Agretti. Perry makes the bump pass on Summers as Agretti goes through.
Agretti just knifing his way through that field. He is the man in charge. Almost contact. Oh, contact between Danil and Charlie Summers. Charlie hangs on to it there on the outside of the carousel. Danil up to second. Agretti is the man. The Italian, though, has the lead right now. He's sliding through the chute. Four-wheel drift practically.
And those are those tires wearing down here at the end of this race. These tires are basically very worn out now. Look at this, though. Perry pushing Summers up the track a bit.
Sebastian Raymond still back here playing. He's going to make it 3 wide. Here comes Raymond up to the inside. Raymond going to take it into the heel. 3 wide. On the inside of Perry. Oh, and there's the contact. Perry into Summers.
Wow. And Summers saved it too. So Summers is still going for a top 5, but that's going to knock him out of this. As Manenkov is in the lead here. Agretti second. And there in third is Raymond.
Wow, Danil Manenkov able to take advantage of Luca Agretti. Going to get into turn 10 one last time. Setting up for turn 11. I don't think Agretti's got the pace or the momentum. Danil Manenkov from Michigan. Got to hold him off. Agretti is charging hard. Sebastian Raymond there in third. Nothing. First, second, and third. Danil Manenkov, Luca Agretti, and Sebastian Raymond, your top 3. Jason Perry and Charlie Summers hanging on there for 4th and 5th. What a finish back through the field here, still coming across the line. David Streeter able to get across. Michael Shaw in tow. Tim Seidel, Rob Adams getting across. More cars coming at. Kurt Nunez, Richard Valley, Bob Kern, Philippe Chauvin. Chauvin not quite up to speed today. Jared McAravey going to salvage, I think, a 15th place finish across the line there. And as the field finishes up this race, Justin, I can tell you, that one was plenty of excitement. But for right now, we're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel and come back with the results of the Week 13 Spec Racer Ford Big Grid Challenge. Justin Prince, Sean Ambrose here, Global Sim Racing Channel. The Spec Racer Ford Big Grid Challenge has just wrapped up 40 minutes of exciting action here at Watkins Glen. Let's roll with the results. Danil Lenenkov, your winner. Up one spot to get it, Luca Leonardo Agretti, the Italian, second today. Sebastian Raymond with a great run. Doesn't quite get the win, but he'll settle for third. You go to Jason Perry, another good run for Spider-Man today. He'll finish fourth. Charlie Summers, fifth. David Gaspers, sixth. That block of cheese was actually pretty fast today, Justin. In seventh, David Streeter. Eighth, Michael Shaw. Tim Seidel in ninth. And Rob Adams going to round out your top 10.
Good performances from them, but good performance as well from our next batch as Kurt Nunez finished off 11th. Richard Valley finishes off in 12th. Bob Kern in 13th. Felipe Chavin finished off in 14th. And 15th, Gennard McAvee. And 16th, Gerard McArevey, Adam Bradshaw, too, finishes off in 16th. 17th, Jeff Nadu. 18th was Tyler Trizzle. 19th, Manning Grennan. And then 20th, Ian Wilson.
All right, and then let's go ahead and take the rest here back. Telmo Amaral, 21st. 22nd, Tom Vanderpool. 23rd, Don Brooks. 24th, Antonio Rees. Gabriel Perez, 25th. Francesco Bernardo, 26th. The other Italian driver. Paolo Martins, 27th. C-Love, 28th. Paul Darling, 29th. Abbas Loddick, 16 laps down, going to finish 30th and 31st. Final car to start this race, that is going to go to the one and only 31st, Fraser Williamson. Never got off to a start today. Tough break for Fraser, but not a tough day at the track for these Spec Racer Ford drivers. This was a fun race, and it always is here, Justin, when we get to bring you these big grid races. But the lack of participants for interviews is disturbing. Listen, guys, we want to talk to you. So next time, okay, when we get to week 13 and we're ready for our next big grid race, everybody get on board. Come on over and visit. We like to talk to people. We want you here. Okay, get that TeamSpeak info and we'll get you hooked up. We'll get you in for an interview. But Justin, I can't thank you enough from hanging out today and calling this race with me. It was a good time. I think we're going to go ahead and say thanks to everybody, but most importantly, I want to say thank you to you, Justin, for working with me today. I also want to thank Steve Ray for organizing this event and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. Thanks to the companies, equipment, and software that you see on screen now that we use on our broadcast. The original music you've heard on today's broadcast is thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact each of them. I want to thank my mic mate, Justin Prince, our director, Joe Peak, Dougie Beard, the Ansel Adams of cinematography for his camera locations. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, your best bet is globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel. Just type in Global Sim Racing Channel. You'll find us, okay? I promise. And now, the housekeeping is out of the way. It is time for me to put a lock on the gate here at Watkins Glen, get out of here, and tell you now that until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.